Hey, Jesse.
Hello, Lindsay.
And hello, TikTok Live and
What's up?
YouTube. We are raw, unedited. Raw, unedited.
The issues.
And uncut. Drink about something. Recap. Where we sit here and we recap our previous episode. We talk a little shit. We have a couple of drinks.
I play with my mic because, it's a thing, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If this is your first time hearing us, we are Jesse and Lindsay from the Drink About Something podcast, where we talk about true crime, and we have a couple of drinks.
Yeah, this coffee drink is doing really good for me.
Yeah?
I'm enjoying it.
What are you having in your coffee drink?
It's like coffee, and then you had some peppermint something or other in there.
Peppermint bark.
That's good.
It's the holiday season.
Yeah, we might have put a little Bailey's in there. I'm not sure.
You put McConnelly's. We went cheap.
Yeah, McConnelly's Bailey's.
McConnelly's Baileys. And I have just finished a Bloody Mary, and I'm having a raspberry Vista Bay from our local, oh my God. From our local Aldi.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
So, quickly, we're going to recap our episode that just dropped yesterday. If you're on YouTube, it released on Friday, the 19th.
Yes, thank you for joining on the lives over there. Lindsay, I don't really like recapping, man. It's like we have to relive the whole horrific story that you got there.
I know. This past one was a really bad one. So, we were talking about Sarah Haley Foxwell.
I got
What you got? You got dinglebirds on your head. So I've got some reindeer, and Jesse's got some snowmen.
And flip-de-floop.
Yeah, these are like
flippity-flop. Hang on.
Dollar Tree specials here.
Ping. I like it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think after this podcast, we're just going to sit in the living room and do this
flame,
for hours.
yeah.
Yes.
We got a gingerbread house making party to go to in a little bit.
Super
excited about that.
Hours.
And it's in walking distance, so we don't have to drive.
With my snowman. Oh, I heard a pong.
All right, so let's recap Sarah Haley Foxwell. And then we can just talk some shit.
Okay.
Okay, so Sarah Haley Foxwell was an 11-year-old who was abducted, sexually assaulted, and murdered right before Christmas in 2009. We covered the full story. We don't want to recry. We don't want to bring up too much about it. So make sure you go back and listen to that episode.
Honestly, the editing was what gets me. Whenever you tell the stories, we're just like going through the motions. But when you're trying to mix all that together and you're going over and over and over certain things, and it's just like.
And then I always re-listen to your mastered, episode. Yeah. And it's like reliving the whole trauma of the research that I put into it. And because usually I will try, or not try to, it just happens naturally. I will usually like cry it out, the emotions that I feel about that case, most of the time before I deliver the story to Jesse, who has no idea what I'm going to unfold for him.
It's about 3/4 of the way in. And I wouldn't say that I master anything by any means.
Well, you know what I mean. You make a finished product.
I have a breakdown about 3/4 of the way in of like, just kind of mixing down and cutting out some bullshit, and it's tough on these podcasts. And I know you, because you're trying to grab all this information from everything that you can find for weeks, and then you put it all together and then you dump it right on me. And it's just like the realization that this actually happens on any case or story that you're talking about,
Well, because Jesse never knows. He doesn't know much about the true crime world. He knows a few famous cases that have happened throughout the years, but he doesn't really know the depth of what happened to these individuals, or if I'm basing or, focusing in on the murderer. He doesn't know what these people were capable of and what they actually did, and their backstory, and what we call the salad that formed the horrific human being that they became as an adult, and sometimes teenagers, sometimes children.
Yeah, and if we ever get big enough, there's some points that I would love to add back into where I kind of squash your build-ups, where it's like I'm trying to either give some kind of banter or something on top of right in the middle of you trying to build something up and then dropping it, and I'm like, right, and I kind of squash it.
And sometimes you give really good insights to the situation going on. Like Jenny Haynes, that's an episode that we did previously about a woman who developed over 2,500 personalities to deal with the trauma that happened upon her. And she is a survivor of her trauma. And she shared our content, she shared our episode, and really appreciated how Jesse understood
my grasp of humanity that someone has to go through. Yeah, it is horrific. I mean, that's just my analogy, and whether it's my personal opinion and trying to give insight of things that probably need to go on before something happens on a lot of things.
And us as people, like you and I have both been through trauma, but nothing to the point to where we developed any kind of outside, what's the word I'm looking for?
It's not debilitating to the point to where you have to live the rest of your life as a survivor,
Right.
So, and we're fortunate, because
coping mechanism.
Yes.
Coping
mechanism. We're fortunate because we didn't have to go through that. And there's so many fortunate people in this world, but at the same time, spend that time, educating people around you about stuff to look out for, if that makes sense.
So Sarah, she was the middle of 5 children, and her mother, Jen, had already suffered a tragedy way before this happened to Sarah. She had went through what's the word I'm looking for? The trauma and the tragedy of losing a child at birth.
Yeah. The house was turned upside down in the beginning. Yes.
And then, so Jen, Sarah Haley's mother, had suffered a loss of a child at birth, and her parents and her ex-husband thought that she should get over this grief very quickly. And the podcast that I listened to for a lot of information about this case was called The Other Side of Goodbye, where it's basically just an interview with Jen, Sarah's mother, who breaks down everything that happened from before Sarah was even born until Sarah was kidnapped and murdered. And it's a really good podcast. I got most of my information on that because I really wanted to tell a lot of the point of view from her mother, because she was there. She did everything. And unfortunately, Jen went through, she went through drug use and alcohol abuse to cope with the loss of her child, Faith, who was to be named Faith. And then she has to go through this trauma again by losing a child to a man who her sister introduced into their family. And so...
And that's the thing you got to look out for right there. You don't bring in that type of toxic things in your situation and in trying to raise children and taking them on too after they had been through so much, and then you bring in somebody just as toxic that has a bad history behind them.
So Jen is working as a traveling nurse to support her family. She has some kind of arrangement legally to where her children have to stay with her sister Amy and her parents. And they all lived in, like, I don't want to call it a barn-demonium situation, but it was like a converted barn to, it was it was a large area to house Jen's children, Amy's children, and her parents. And so Jen's, she's working as a traveling nurse. She gets a call that Sarah is missing. And she already had known that her sister Amy was dating the man that, would be Sarah's murderer. Jen had already been dating this guy. Amy had been dating this guy. Jen knew about his past, a little bit of it though, because unfortunately Thomas' legs had slipped through the cracks. He had multiple sexual assault cases against him. He had been sentenced to prison multiple times, but got out on good behavior. I don't even know why that's a thing.
I feel like the New England area kind of let down society by letting him just walk free.
Right. This happened in Salisbury, Maryland.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was even a point where literally, like, he reproduced, he made a child with another person, and the day that this child was born, he was committing a crime, and fell through the cracks through that again. Was released early on good behavior. I don't understand that concept.
Should have been done with then,
because good behavior shouldn't count with a sex offender.
No,
because they're on good behavior. They're in prison. Mm-hmm. They're not able to do their crime in that situation.
Yeah, with this experience, you know that they're master manipulators to begin with.
Yes. So Sister Amy, had dated Thomas Legs under the assumption that all of his sexual charges were a misunderstanding. I'm doing air quotes here if you're listening to this on audio. Which is terrible. I mean, and I do talk about I had an experience like that. Make sure you check out our episode to get that full story.
Yeah, by the way, we are a true crime podcast. You can check all our stuff out at drinkaboutsomething.site. So all you guys over here on the lives and everybody that's going to check it out later on.
All the cases that I've covered.
Lindsay has brought receipts.
Yes. So after our YouTube video is finished, I'm going to go through and talk about all of the bands that we have featured on our episodes, and just kind of list those, because we want to get recognition to those, because we play a band at the end of each episode that Jesse has sought out, or they have contacted him and said, hey, play our music, or he's like, hey, can we play your music? So he has permission to play every song that we do have at the end of each episode.
Yeah. And
we've discovered some really cool music.
Yeah, and some cool dudes. Like I hooked up with a dude that does a lot of mixing and mastering this week, and for a lot of big bands like Rob Halford and stuff, El Nino, and he's just a friend of mine. So it's really cool to be able to share some of the bands that haven't made it to fame yet, and doing these podcasts, some of them have now. Mm-hmm. So that's awesome. Aurora Rave.
Oh, I said that so. Aurora Wave. There we go.
And it's an adventure, Lindsay. You're taking us on, mm-hmm. and I am so fortunate to see that, even on the lives over there, and looking at the people that are coming in and watching and following all your stories. We're at 61 episodes now.
Wow.
That's a lot. And we've been doing this over a year. We try to put out one once a week, and we've been consistent and motivated, and it thanks to you guys so much.
And we have so many more cases saved. He has so many more bands in the queue to get their content put out there with our episode.
The palate cleanser and their recognition is also validated, because they put in the work, and that's a really good contrast as far as doing a podcast, and then you have just some cool music in the background at the end of it. You're like, okay, we went through this crazy story, and then now we're going to play some music. That's what I live for over here. So I love it.
So really quick to wrap up the recap of Sarah Haley. So Thomas Legs does get convicted, and he does get 2 life sentences plus 50 years for the kidnapping alone. So the 2 life sentences were for the assault and murder. The plus 50 years was for the kidnapping. And Jen was like, we need more harsher stipulations on these sexual offenders, especially the ones on children. And so she fought really hard to what's publish? Is it publish or to get out there Sarah's law?
Publicize Sarah's law. It became Sarah's law.
Yeah, it became Sarah's law. So Sarah's law is basically in Maryland where this happened. There are harsher consequences for sexual offenders, and you can't get out on good behavior. I think the minimal sentencing is 15 years. Minimal, no getting out early. And then there are more harsher consequences beyond that point. Mm-hmm. So, unfortunately, like we did talk about, and JoJo did bring up a very valid point in that episode. My best friend joined us on that. One of my 3 very, very, very best friends. She said that if you don't think like that, if you don't think like these sick, horrible people out there, it is hard to already have laws in place to regulate that type of behavior.
Right.
So unfortunately, and I hate it so much, it hurts my heart, it hurts everything. Tragedy does have to happen for certain things. And I just wish that it didn't have to be like that. Because every year, since whenever, justice system came into play, worse and worse things happen that you have to make a whole new law about.
Yeah. And the evil in humanity has to be regulated somehow.
But at the same time, I think it should have always been that a sexual offender should never be able to get out on good behavior.
No.
Because that doesn't make any sense.
No.
To me. They're not going to commit the crime that they commit. They're not going to be able to release those impulses while they're in prison. They're only going to be able to do that outside of prison. Mm-hmm. So why would you release them early?
Right. You have to find out who the person is if they're that sick in the brain. You have to really find out before releasing them back into society. And they didn't.
So YouTubers, YouTube listeners right now, we are on TikTok Live as well, but make sure that y'all listen to that full episode. And then so this is Wednesday when this comes out, and then tomorrow is Thursday, and we will have a brand new episode out for you guys. It will be the last one of 2025 before we get into January. And January is going to be about the jinx. And let me tell you, it's probably going to take up the entire month.
That's a 3-parter, right?
3.
Maybe 4.
No, I think 3 will be the max.
Wow.
But we are going to take a break.
I know nothing about it.
We are going to take a 1-week break, but we're going to still have some content. But as far as the jinx goes, that will start on the 2nd week of January when that first episode will drop.
I know nothing.
I know. Jesse knows nothing. And for true crime lovers, you guys know who the jinx is, but Jesse doesn't, so make sure you stay tuned to hear his reaction.
Yeah, I have
to the life of Robert Durst.
A celebrity guest that may pop in on that one, so that'd be kind of cool.
Possibly the 3rd part.
Yeah.
2nd or 3rd part.
We'll make plans. We're making plans.
Yes. So on YouTube, we love you. We hope you have a very Merry Christmas.
Yes.
And thank you so much for listening this year. And keep listening, like, subscribe, share. Anything else you want to add for our YouTube listeners? We're going to keep going with live.
No, well, just let us know what you think. We love seeing the comments and all the stuff, so and just keep on following along. We got a lot to come.
And if there's a case that you want us to cover, that you would like to hear us talk about, that you would like to see me unload onto Jesse, put that in the comment section or send us an email at drinkaboutsomething. Is it pod? drinkaboutsomethingpod@gmail.com.
Oh, yes.
Or you can just go to drinkaboutsomething.site and find everything where you can find us. And since we do drink on here, if there's a drink that you want us to try out, send us the recipe. We'll make it and we'll drink it on video.
Yeah,
on
and
our
for all the hardcore listeners or anybody, it's just Genzy. If you Google Genzy, Jendsey, you're going to find us. So that's that easy.
Absolutely.
It's all on Genzy.
So for now, we are going to sign off. We love you. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Yes.
Because we will see you right after the New Year. Love you so much.
Yes.
Bye.